Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Roman Reigns has had a tough time over the last few weeks. Despite holding his own against Solo Sikoa, the numbers game got to him. If Sikoa wasn't enough to deal with, adding Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga to the mix didn't help. As a result, the original tribal chief hasn't been seen in weeks and is clearly in desperate need of allies. But could his need for the same and attempts to make amends in the near future cost a 10-time champion an important title match? The answer isn't a clear yes or no, it remains a distinct possibility. Why? Well, because the 10-time champion in this scenario is none other than Jey Uso. A man who over the years has claimed to have done everything he has for his family. It wouldn't be surprising to see Roman Reigns look to his family for help. This could lead him to make a shocking appearance on Raw, where he could look to reunite with the main event. However, this plan is easier said than done. Without the wise man, Paul Heyman by his side, even Roman Reigns can make mistakes. And, in this case, the mistake comes in a poorly thought-out attempt to help Jey Uso beat Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. Although Reigns could come out to help, Jey may see things differently. After all, things didn't exactly end between them on good terms. Jey, confused upon seeing Roman, may attack him instead of embracing him, believing he is here to cost him the match. Unfortunately, his actions cause him to lose focus, allowing Breaker to capitalize, thus preventing the 10-time tag team champion from capturing his first singles title. It would be quite the story, but at this point, it remains nothing more than speculation. WWE analyst believes Roman Reigns will return to SmackDown in shocking fashion. A potential appearance on Raw to recruit Jey Uso aside, Roman Reigns' return to SmackDown must come first. The last time he was seen on the blue brand, he was seen leaving the arena hurt after he was laid out by Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. Given the circumstances, his return feels inevitable as he looks to exact his revenge. And, if a WWE analyst has his way, it might be as early as next week. Sam Roberts of the Not Sam Wrestling podcast believes that Reigns could return next week on SmackDown. For those who don't remember, Solo Sikoa is scheduled to take on Cody Rhodes next week inside a steel cage with the undisputed WWE Championship on the line. Now, given this is Sikoa we are talking about, the Bloodline is sure to find a way inside to help their tribal chief. This is where the original tribal chief comes in, aiding the American Nightmare much to everyone's surprise. Of course, there is no telling if Robert's predictions will come to pass. We will all just have to wait and see what goes down next week. But there is no denying that it would be quite something. Roman Reigns stood backstage, watching the monitor intently as the WWE Universe roared in anticipation of the main event. The tribal chief had been absent from the spotlight for a few weeks, taking a step back to let his body recover and rethink his strategy with the Bloodline crumbling around him. But tonight was a different night. Roman knew the magnitude of what was about to happen, a championship match that could change the entire landscape of WWE. Standing in the ring, poised for glory, was the 10-time champion, Randy Orton. Orton had been gunning for his 11th world title, a monumental feat that would solidify his legacy as one of the greatest of all time. His opponent? Seth Rollins, the reigning champion and one of the few men who could match Orton's ring prowess. Roman's plans didn't involve getting tangled in this rivalry, but sometimes fate has a way of forcing things upon you. Roman had felt the pressure building from all sides. He hadn't been involved in a major storyline since the cracks in the Bloodline surfaced, but this match was different. He knew that if Randy Orton walked out as champion, his own standing would be threatened. Orton was not just any competitor, he was a calculated predator who had the backing of fans, legends, and even certain higher-ups backstage. Roman had to act. As Orton and Rollins locked up in a classic exchange of technical wrestling, Roman paced the hallway backstage. He knew that if Orton won, the landscape would shift dramatically, with potential allies choosing Orton over him. Roman couldn't afford that. Plan A or Plan B? Paul Heyman asked cautiously from Roman's side, his eyes wide with concern. Roman gritted his teeth. He didn't want to interfere in this match, not directly. That wasn't his way. Not anymore. But watching Orton deliver a thunderous powerslam to Rollins, followed by Hangman's DDT, Roman felt his resolve slipping. Plan A, Roman muttered, signaling to Heyman, who immediately darted off to set things in motion. The unfolding chaos in the ring, the match was reaching its climax. Orton had the upper hand after hitting Rollins with a well-timed RKO. The crowd exploded, knowing that if Orton went for the cover, it was likely all over. The referee slid into position, but before his hand could hit the mat for the 3 count, the lights flickered. The crowd gasped. Suddenly, Roman's music blared through the arena, and the familiar sight of the tribal chief walking down the ramp sent shockwaves through the audience. Orton stood up, his face contorted in a mix of anger and confusion. Why was Roman here? This was his moment, his chance to etch his name in history one more time. Roman moved slowly, his eyes locked on Orton. He wasn't there to attack him, not directly, but the message was clear. Roman wanted to remind Orton who truly ran the show in WWE. The distraction was enough. Seth Rollins, never one to waste an opportunity, capitalized on Orton's momentary lapse in focus. As Orton turned back around, Rollins caught him with a stomp. The impact sent shockwaves through the arena as Orton's head slammed into the mat. Rollins quickly covered Orton, the referee counting to 3. The bell rang, and Rollins retained his title. Orton lay motionless, barely processing what had just happened. Roman stood at ringside, stoic, his expression unreadable as the boos rained down from the crowd. He hadn't physically interfered, but his presence had been enough to cost Orton the match. Fallout and the plan to make amends backstage, Roman sat in his private locker room, leaning forward, his hands clasped together as he thought about what had just transpired. The intention had been to send a message to Orton and the WWE Universe, not to cost him the match. But the execution had been imperfect, and now Roman found himself in an even worse position. Paul Heyman burst into the room, frantic. "Roman, you have to address this." Randy Orton's furious, and the fans. Roman cut him off. "I'll deal with it." He wasn't wrong. Orton was beyond livid, already giving interviews about how Roman had cost him his shot at making history. The WWE Universe was in an uproar, calling out Roman for once again inserting himself into a narrative that wasn't his. Roman couldn't let this spiral any further. That's when the idea hit him. He'd make amends by offering Orton a chance at redemption. Roman would personally guarantee that Orton got another shot at the title. A clean shot. No interference, no distractions. Roman would even step in Orton's corner if needed. But Roman had underestimated the depth of Orton's anger. When he approached Orton backstage, extending an olive branch, Orton wasn't interested. "You think I need your help?" Orton spat, his voice dripping with venom. "You think I want anything from you after what you did? You cost me everything." Roman held his ground, trying to reason with him. "I didn't mean for it to go down like that, Randy. Let me make it right." But Orton was having none of it. He shoved Roman back, the tension thick between them. "You want to make it right? Stay the hell out of my business. I don't need the help of a guy who can't even control his own family." The jab hit harder than Roman expected. Orton was referring to the bloodline's recent implosion, a sore spot for Roman. The tribal chief's eyes flared with anger, but he kept his composure. "This isn't about family," Roman growled. "This is about business. You want your title shot, you'll take my help, or you'll get buried." Orton narrowed his eyes, his mind whirling with rage. "I'd rather burn this whole place to the ground than let you be a part of my success." Roman's plans to make amends were falling apart faster than he anticipated. As he walked away from the confrontation, his thoughts shifted from making peace to preparing for war. If Orton didn't want his help, then maybe Roman would have to crush the Viper once and for all. What Roman didn't realize was that his attempt to fix things had not only backfired but ignited a new rivalry, one that could spell disaster for both of their futures. The tribal chief's quest for redemption had now turned into a battle for survival.